Hello everyone, and I'm very, very happy to have with me Dr. Arunav Garg.
Thank you so much.
He's a proud Damsonian and he's been a consistent rank holder. He secured a NEETPG rank 366. He was a PGI rank holder, rank 43, and an AIMS rank of 65. Heartiest congratulations, Arunav,
Thank you so much,
wonderful performance in all exams.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's a great feeling. Ma'am, it's more of a relief that, it's finally over and I can begin the next phase of my life.
Right, and he said it's finally over, and let me tell you why, because he's very consistent and he really wants to get what he wants to get, and he doesn't stop till he gets it. So he was a NEETPG rank 3000 last year, and from that rank to these top ranks, I think it's an amazing achievement.
Definitely, ma'am. Last year, ma'am, according to some people, it is a decent rank,
yes, but
it wasn't giving me the branch I wanted. I always wanted to do medicine.
Right.
And now, there were people telling me that, the possibilities of going wrong a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are pros and cons of doing it again.
Yes.
But I always thought, even you and Sumesh always used to say that, they used to motivate a lot, that, if you have been giving a dream, you have also been given the means to achieve it.
Yes.
And after all, it's your dream, you have to fight for it.
And the branch stays with you for life.
Definitely, ma'am, that is the thing. I don't think, ma'am, first attempt nahi karna hai. I don't think it all matters. It matters
absolutely.
What branch are you taking, and definitely theek hai, ma'am. I have my own timeline, and I want to get what I want, and irrespective of what it takes, because I feel it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of when you will achieve it, and when you get there, it all seems worth it.
I think this is a wonderful, wonderful piece that he said, and I am sure a lot of people will relate to this who have ranks this year, but maybe not good enough to get a particular branch that they want.
Yes,
and it's totally worth it to give another try, and because as we said, the branch stays for you.
Definitely, ma'am. Definitely.
Right. So Arunav, I would definitely want to ask you what goes in to get these top ranks. He's been a classroom student right from foundation years, and then he followed up with the TND course. So what I would want you to guide the students is on the importance of each of these. For example, the importance of you coming and attending the classes and making your own notes and getting the concepts clear, to the importance of a TND program which gives you target-oriented, practice guideline on this is the time, then you finish, and so we would want to have your word on it.
No, I think I began in the foundation course in my third year, and ma'am, I used to love attending classes. Ma'am, I attended all the classes, and I even followed it in my final year, where you join the pre-foundation course, and you attend the first and second year subjects.
Okay.
Because I think I had I don't think it was a problem or not, but I cannot read someone else's notes. I cannot read the photocopy notes.
I think they don't even give you what you
exactly, ma'am. Basically, I think that when the teacher is teaching, they write the conclusion on the screen.
But
there are many other things that they're speaking. Many other things you need to understand, how to apply those things in the MCQs.
Which is more important.
That is very important, and I used to write down everything in my notes.
Okay.
And I used to even write the jokes that teachers crack in the notes. So when you're reading this again, you will get the entire classroom experience again.
Yes.
And it's more fun, and it's more helps you to retain more.
Right.
And I'm I think the main aim of the preparation is that when you are there in the final exam in those 3 hours, and you should be able to recall every page of your notebook.
Right.
Of every subject, and if you do that, I think that is more than enough to get a top rank.
Yes, because the papers are not asking you unusual things or things out of the blue, but it is that when they ask usual things, you have to apply your concepts and understand that why one option is the answer and why other options are not the answer.
This is what classroom teaching. Why is it? I really I attend all the classes, because they actually tell you how to apply those things.
Yes.
And how to use those knowledge to actually get an answer.
Right.
And I know, ma'am, they say if you have read the exams notes at least thoroughly, and you are able to recall them, that is very important.
Yes, naturally.
And for that you need a lot of revision.
See, you have to understand that notes is not a storybook, right?
Definitely.
So it's a storybook, you don't have to remember every line, every paragraph, but when you come to notes, you have to know them by heart, and you have to know how to apply them as well.
Definitely.
And if you leave everything and just sit and revise notes, do you think that itself works quite a lot?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I would like to say that at the end, you should be preparing for the entire year, so that at the end, like at the last 25 days, you should be able to revise the entire course.
That's true. That's
true. And you can revise the entire course. Obviously, ma'am, when you're going to the notes, you will know this. Your speed will be much faster.
And then you will also know what things you probably have to revise over and over again.
Exactly, but you have to, at the end of last 25 days, you need to revise the entire course. And for that, you need to have your notes, own handwritten notes.
Yes.
And you need to revise them again and again. And that is how you will be able to revise in the last 25 days. And that is how you will be able to recall in the final exam.
Yes, which is very important.
That is the only thing, ma'am. I mean,
absolutely.
That is the crux you need to achieve.
Right.
You need to do your paper well. That is very important.
And now let's go on to the other part. Once you have a set of notes with you, which you've understood the concepts, you've attended the classes once, and yes, you've repeatedly said that you need to revise them over and over again, which I totally agree on, because you have to recall things in the exam. And now coming to learning the exam skill part, right? Because the exam is in the form of a mixed bag of questions. It's MCQs, right? And now we come to the art of it. So do you think that a course like TND trains you well for the exam skill?
Definitely, ma'am. TND it was an amazing experience. Like, you get 1 week to prepare for a subject, and it gives you a schedule. So it makes sure that you're not giving too much time for a subject. You're not giving less time for a subject. And that with the regular tests and the grand test and the SWTs. And ma'am, I would like to stress on the fact about this grand test, because that was one of the mistakes I did last year.
Okay.
And I'm glad I realized it, ma'am, because last year my CBT was the first test I gave.
Okay.
And I realized it was too late to
buck up from
there. And so I made sure from the first grand test I gave this year.
Yes.
And it has to be given properly. It's not just that you give the grand test for the sake of giving it and getting a rank.
Yes.
It is a process. I mean, first thing you have to give it very, very seriously.
That's true.
And you have to give it as it is a final exam.
Yes, because a lot of students don't even get into a habit of sitting for 3 hours and attempting 300 questions.
I used to do that. Like, there's a 3-hour paper, and I have to complete it in 2 hours. And it's like, chal theek hai, chhodte hain isko ab, and after that kuch aur kar lenge. But no, finally in the final exam, you will be there for 3 hours. In the final exam, you won't get up in between.
Brain for it.
So that remaining 1 hour, you have to review your questions. That skill of reviewing and making your instincts, you have to develop them from the first grand test only. And I think like instincts are really helpful to develop, and it's more importantly, you should have confidence to trust your instincts.
Right. And
there were many videos by Sumaya sir also that there's a difference between your instinct and the odd one out option, and you have to know how to differentiate them. And for this grand test is definitely very important.
Right.
Ma'am, and also like first is to give them seriously. Second would definitely be to watch the solutions, the video solutions. And ma'am, like I have seen many students in the club asking that they don't get time to see the solutions, and like I don't understand, like this is the thing you need to do.
Yes.
I mean, you need to invest time to develop that skill of MCQ. It's not an overnight thing.
Yes, because when we talk about GT videos, we as faculty also ensure that we make it the most high yielding. So we would tell you the approach, which tells you why you went wrong in a particular question, what should have been your thought process on it, and we give you a background around that question as well. So it means anything that is high yielding would be sort of given to you in the shortest possible time.
Exactly, ma'am. And matlab, I had a you need to see the solutions.
Okay.
You need to find out what went wrong.
Right.
And importantly, Sumaya sir also used to say this, that there will be questions which you have done right, but that is due to the wrong logic.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the same logic might get you the question wrong, the same question wrong if there are different options.
Yes.
So that is where the solutions help, especially the video solution by the teachers. And like you have the expert of each faculty answering every question, and I don't think why people don't see it. I mean, it's amazing.
Right. And what do you think of the quality of the grand test and the TND papers that we give at DAMS?
Ma'am, they're definitely like good.
Yeah.
And they're not that tough that you're asking like haywire questions. They are the questions which actually come in the exam.
Right.
Like many of your questions from SWT actually came in the exam.
Yes. And even in the central institute.
Definitely, ma'am. I'm actually, SWTs I targeted only the weak subjects. I did my SWTs.
Okay.
And grand test I gave all the grand tests.
Right.
And after the AIMS exam, I realized I should have done your SWT, and I did that then and there.
Right.
And there were questions neat also from SWT. So that is why it's very important. Ma'am, and also one more thing about grand test, I would like to say key analysis of the grand test. That is the final step. Like you need to see what went wrong, and like I used to have an instinct key we all have if you have a strong subject, you want to study it more.
That's
you
true.
feel nice about it, but you have to go to a weak subject. You have to make them your strengths.
I think this is so important. You know,
Yes,
post exams, when we have toppers here and when we talk to them, they are actually speaking the language of, you know, what the faculty has been telling them throughout the year. But now this is from the topper's mouth. You know, it's very important not to just give the paper. I think I would definitely stress on this particular point is evaluation of the paper. You have to see what you've done wrong, and you have to work more on your wrong areas, because that's what is going to push up your score, or maybe push down if you don't work on it.
Exactly, ma'am. And definitely analysis of the subjects, and also there's another analysis that how many guesses you're getting right, how many instincts you're getting right, what logic you need to apply to get more instincts right. I know that is a skill which will develop over time. Because ma'am, I feel the last 40-50 questions, which like you don't exactly know the direct answer.
Yeah, but you're confused between two options.
Exactly, two options, three options. Like I used to try to rule out. Like I used to think a lot. Apply all your knowledge into all the 4 options and try to rule out as much as you can. And that is how you can like solve the questions. Like out of 300 questions, like I don't think anyone knows like the number of questions that they did right. There have to be guesses. They're called intelligent guesses.
Yes.
And you have to get that skill right, and that will take time. And that is when I realized that you should begin early. Giving the grand test early is very important. Because I'm usually I am just recalling my experience from my internship years. I thought I had done my theory well. And but that MCQ skill was lacking, and I took it for granted. Frankly speaking, I took it for granted, and like there were teachers telling me, but I was like, "ठीक है, हो जाएगा," and you know, I just saw this video of how to attempt a paper before the actual exam. But to realize those videos have to be seen at the start of the year, so that you can apply those things from the first grant itself.
Gradually and build yourself.
The skill will develop over the year. That is very important.
Okay, so that's those are like genuine pieces of advice, which I think are going to be very, very vital for anybody who's sort of preparing for the coming exams as well. And also just to sort of wind up the interview, the revision part, because you know you have consistently talked about it, but close to the exams, maybe you know, how should a child study throughout the year so that they're able to revise towards the end?
Ma'am, as I told you earlier, that the aim should be to revise the entire course in last 25 days. And ma'am, I had the strategy, like it's again related to the grand test, but like that is how you can revise the entire course during your first sitting itself. That I used to give a grand test, and then I used to leave 20 days after the grand test to see the solution of the grand test. So what I did, like I used to have 1-2 hours in the morning every day to do one subject of the grand test. Then I used to see the video. I used to see what I got wrong, why I got wrong, and I used to revise the topics that were in the grand test. So in this way, like I used to give 2-3 hours, and definitely I used to give it in the morning so that I make sure I do it. Because in the night you will be like raat ko kar lenge, and then tum so jaoge.
And then you sort of just keep delaying
so on that 20 days, I used to that one grand test done, and then the next grand test. So like every 20 days or every 1 month, you can do one grand test, and in this way you're also revising the important subjects, the important topics, very importantly, of all the grand tests throughout the year. So like at the end of, if there were like 8-9 grand tests, so if you give like 10 grand tests at the 10th month, you have already revised 10 times all the important topics.
That's true. So I think that's a good idea. If you start giving grand tests right from the beginning and start highlighting those topics and understand that these are the ones that need to be consistently revised.
You can always add those things. You can mark a cue.
Make little hints for yourself.
Little hints that what went wrong, what next time you'll do, make small mnemonics.
Perfect.
And like as I told you, I used to write jokes on my notes. So it helps you, ma'am. Those are the things which help you recall during the final exam. And I'm again emphasizing on the fact that recalling all the 19 subjects of your notes is the most important thing during that stressful period of 3 hours of the final exam.
And now since you're talking about the exam, my last question would be like, how many questions did you attempt, and what was your review of the paper?
Ma'am, I attempted a lot. Like this is also one of the things I learned from last year. Like you need to attempt high. You need to guess as many questions as you can.
Because you're anyways going to do some things wrong.
Exactly, ma'am. Because one for negative marking it's kind of a negligible negative marking.
Yes, it's very minimal for that reason.
Even if you go by probability, if you mark 5 questions like randomly, you will get 1 or 2 right, and that will just balance it out. So like I attempted 295 on 300 because like I knew I wanted to attempt high because that is, you learned
it the hard way.
That is how you have performed Like I got a good rank in PGI names. I attempted high in those exams also. So like everyone may have their own strategies, because I have seen children attempting like a little 20-30 questions less, and they have performed well, because they are like only few students.
Yes.
And they have done that throughout the year, and they are very confident about that.
Right.
But I think majority you should be attempting to close 100% of the questions, and you need to rule out the options. You need to get the right answer, because the beauty is that the right answer is in front of you. Right. And you just need to pick it up.
And just to sort of reinforce, do you think that the material, the quality, and the things that DAMS provides is good enough to push you from a certain rank to top ranks?
Definitely, ma'am. I think like there are like 3 things important: theory, the MCQ, and motivation.
Yeah.
And all the 3 things were there in DAMS. And like right from the club, from the Medicos app, from the test series app. I mean, there are so many things DAMS is offering, and you know there will be times that my students, like there were some students confused कि ये app क्या करती है, there is so much DAMS is providing, and students actually don't have any knowledge that ये सब provide हो रहा है, ये सब भी करो. Right. And like the main aim is like you don't need to go to so many sources. You need to compile all of that into 1 or maximum 2 notebooks per subject.
Yes.
And that is more than enough. You just need to revise them again and again. That will be enough.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So I think that's what Arunav has stressed on, his revisions and his consistency, and not quitting as well, I will say.
Definitely.
Until he has reached these top ranks.
Ma'am, so, yes, ma'am. I actually believe that I had this thing written on my wall, that failure is just an opportunity to begin again more intelligently.
That's
and
true.
I think whatever rank I got last year, it was a blessing in disguise, and I did as much as I could. And I think you should aim high. You should always aim high. You should never settle for average. And if anyone is telling you that you are average, you just need to block that person. Cut out negative people around you. Ma'am, because I think people use this terminology around a lot among themselves, and they gradually end up turning into that group.
That's true, because you passively start believing in it, and you.
वो तो toppers हैं, हम नहीं हैं. Ma'am, ये सब नहीं होता. ठीक है, you work hard, you stay focused, less distractions. Ma'am, definitely होगा. Ma'am, never settle for average.
Perfect.
And aim for high. Aim for top.
And what would be your advice to junior Damsonians and other students who might be listening to you?
Ma'am, for my juniors in MAMC, ma'am, I think PD is crackable in first attempt, no doubt.
Right.
Ma'am, we need the right guidance. I realized my mistakes, but it was too late by then.
Right.
But I realized my mistakes and how to go about it. You should have right guidance, and I would happy to help if any of my juniors need my help. And it is crackable in the first attempt.
Right.
And my people say that, internship in MAMC is heavy and all those things. I think, I didn't make any of those excuses. Now, there are my batchmates who are cracking them in the first attempt.
That's
getting
true.
so good ranks. And they're also going through the same internship.
Yes.
I think you should stop making excuses, work on your weaknesses,
Yeah.
analyze it, and go ahead. And that is the way, I think.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Arunav, and it was a pleasure having you here.
It was a pleasure having you, meet you, ma'am. Really, ma'am.
Perfect. And we wish you all the very best.
Thank you so
and
much.
May you be a great doctor. God
Thank you so
bless.
much, ma'am.
Thank you so much.